Hi guys, today we are going to cover section 2.2, which is combining like terms. So we're going to first talk about what is a term and all of that great information. Okay, so a variable term is obviously going to be with a variable, okay, which is a letter. So the examples from up here, okay, are going to be 14x. Now, what I like to do with these is I box and circle, draw shapes around my like terms. So I will box the variable terms, okay? So I'm going to go and look. Now you box the sign that is in front of it, okay? So box with sign in front of it. So for instance here, this is going to be a negative 2x. And then I'm going to have a negative 5x. So continuing this down, the coefficients are the numbers next to or in front of the variable. So the coefficients here are 14, comma, negative 2, comma, negative 5. Next set of numbers is constants. It's the terms without a variable. It's the digit by itself, digit by itself. So for instance here, and I'm going to circle these. Now that's a positive 9. I don't have to write the plus 9 because when I just write 9, I know it's positive. And then I have a positive 8 and then a positive 1. Here we go. Let's work a few examples where we're labeling. My directions right here are to identify the variable terms, constant terms, and then the coefficients. All right, so if I'm looking at this, the variable terms are 11a and 4a. There are no constant terms because there's no numbers without a letter. The coefficients are 11 and 4. Next example, we're going to do number 3. Okay, this is where I'm going to get to where I'm going to be boxing. I could go ahead and box these because they're both the same, but there was only one type. That's why I did not. All right, so looking here, we have two different types. So I'm going to box my variable terms, which give me a negative 12m and a positive 4m. My constants are the terms without a letter. So that's going to be the negative 3 and the 16. The coefficients are negative 12 and 4. Next example, number 6. The curveball here is there is no number written in front of this R. It is understood to be a 1. Okay. When no number written it is understood to be a 1. Okay, so when I'm looking at this, I'm going to box my like terms. So I'm going to have a negative 10r, a negative r, or I could write a negative 1r, and a negative 6r. So now I'm going to go ahead and do my coefficients here. So I'm going to have negative 10, negative 1, and negative 6. And then my constant is 11. Okay, last example on this side. Now we're throwing in two different letters. They're still variable terms because they've got a letter. So I'm going to have 8a and 3a, and then I'm going to have my b's, and these I'm going to put a triangle around because they're different. So I'm going to have a negative 7b and a negative 2b. And okay, so here my coefficients are 8, 3, negative 7, and negative 2. My constant is 1. And moving on, now we're going to actually talk about combining them, which means when we combine, we add. Okay, you can simplify an algebraic expression by combining like terms. This means to combine common variable terms and constant terms, okay? Which means we add together. But follow integer rules. You have to follow the integer rules, okay? So if I'm looking at this example right here, I don't get much work at place to work. I don't like that, okay? So we have 14x and a negative 2x and a negative 5x, okay? The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to set that up as I'm just looking at the coefficients. So we're going to combine coefficients. So I'm going to have 14 minus 2 minus 5, which is going to then give me 14 minus 2 is 12 minus 5, which is 7. So that's going to give me 7x. And then I'm going to think about this as 9 plus 8 plus 1. There's not enough room for this one to work, but this is kind of the gist of what you're doing. So I have 9 plus 8 plus 1. Now, because of the commutative property, I can rewrite this as 9 plus 1 plus 8, because my brain likes to do tens first. So then I'm going to have 10 plus 8, which is 18. So we have our final answer of 7x plus 18. All right, now we're looking at some examples, okay? All right, so if I look at number 12, remember this is understood to have a 1 right here. So that means I am doing 1 minus 6. That's battle because that's a negative 6. So this is the same as 1 plus negative 6, which that's going to give me a negative 5k as my final answer. Okay, so now 15. I'm combining my like terms. So I have 11m and the negative 5m, 11m. So that's going to be 11 minus 5, which is 6. So this is going to give me 6m minus 13. 18. This is where writing your work a little differently might help you to better organize this. I'm going to group my like terms together. They've been kind of grouped with me already, so I'm going to rewrite them together. So I'm going to have, I have the negative 2n, so I'm going to have negative 2n plus negative 3n plus 4 plus negative 19, because I'm combining the negative 2n and the negative 3n. When I add that together, that gives me negative 5n. Make sure I do my circles there. And then so now when I combine this, that gives me negative 5n. When I do 4 plus negative 19, that gives me negative 15. So I can write it as the negative 5n minus 15 or negative 5n plus negative 15. Both of these are acceptable answers. Okay, looking at 21. Again, I like to rewrite it to where I have my information together. So I'm going to have 4h minus 8h plus 10 minus 1, which then that's going to give me 4h minus 8h. That means they were doing battle, the negatives win. So this is a negative 4h plus 10 minus 1 is 9. And 24. We've got more than one letter. Variable, the thing to remember. Write variable terms in alpha order, in alphabetical order. Okay, so that's the way I'm going to organize it. I'm going to have negative a, remember that's a negative 1a, minus 3a, plus negative 5b, plus 4b, minus 11b, plus 2. And now I simplify. Negative 1a, those are doing teamwork, so this is going to be a negative 4a. Here I can only do two numbers at a time, so I'm going to combine these together first. Plus, so that's going to give me a negative 1b minus 11b plus 2. Now I'm going to combine these two. Oops, that's the wrong color. And now we end up with negative 4a minus 12b plus 2. This is my final answer. And last one, you know we got to pull in the fraction rules in with this. So we've got to find a common denominator first. My common denominator is going to be 8, so I'm going to have to write these new fractions. So we have 8, so I've got to multiply times 2, so that's going to give me 22k minus 3/8 k. So I'm really just doing 22 minus 3, which gives me 19/8 k. This is my final answer. Okay, you're going to finish the notes. Well, come talk to me. You're going to finish the notes page, check them with the answer sheet, and then you'll work on the classwork page. Have a great day.